things with Pokemon have been kind of slow lately, and that's actually not a bad thing. It actually feels like Game Freak is taking their time preparing Legends ZA. And with the prospect that we might not get any news until next Pokemon Day, which is a whopping 4 months away at the time of writing this, there's not much to talk about. Well, until recently. Game Freak encountered a massive data leak, and it's near impossible to cover everything that was leaked, but if we were to put the crazy scrapped lore building and questionable character designs aside, one thing that was leaked was official Pantone colors for some shiny Pokemon, and some are totally different from the shinies we are used to. So I wanted to go through some of the highlights and show you the beta shinies we weren't meant to see. Which is actually rare for us. While beta designs of Pokemon have been leaked for years, the only other beta shiny that was leaked was Go-Go, and that was actually leaked by Game Freak themselves in a promotional video for X and Y. But first, what is Pantone? The Pantone color system is a standardized set of colors used in print and design, which ensures that a particular color will be exactly the same across different mediums. Every Pantone color has a specific code, which represents a certain shade that can be reproduced exactly in physical print. This is because the colors in Pantone are created by a very specific mixture of inks that ensures that the colors will be identical on paper regardless of where or how they are printed. That's opposed to the hex code color system, which pertains almost completely to digital design and would use color representation of the RGB color model. This relies on different types of lights for red, green, and blue hues. That's actually what that hex code means. It is the numbers for red light, green light, and blue light in hexadecimal. Even though Pokemon is a video game series that would use RGB, when documenting the shiny colors, Game Freak probably went with Pantone because it gave it a more accurate and consistent reference with regards to printed materials like promotional artwork or even official guides, like we later see in Pokemon Platinum. This could also be used for the anime or for possibly cards, you name it. On the screen, you're going to see on the left is going to be the beta shiny, and on the right, you're going to see the shiny that we got. All of these are redrawn versions of their Dream World or Global Link art, and they are not the original documents. Because A, I don't want to be copyright struck for showing the leaked documents, and B, most of the documents show the base art with the Pantone colors pointing at the specific areas that change, which doesn't give us a good look of the shiny anyway. Also, we're going in Pokedex order. Editor Shino here, so the reason why these Pokemon are going to be on these boring backgrounds is because I don't want to give the colors like more light or look a little bit more darker so that you get the most accurate look of the actual colors, because color accuracy is something that we are trying to replicate. So let's get started with
Ivysaur!
The only difference is the eye color, and it looks better in my opinion. It's a mix between its actual shiny and its Stadium 2 shiny.
Venusaur!
Venusaur is an interesting case because you'd think the beta is fairly close to the one we get. A little bit more of an orange flower and more yellowish green for the body. However, there was a cover-up. Like literally, there was a cover-up. The images for the colors were taped over the originals with notes on the side describing the changes. And the shiny that was hidden away was a more saturated version of the base form. It looks cool, but honestly, the shiny received an upgrade with the new changes.
Charizard!
In a shocking twist, Charizard isn't black or purple. It's actually blue. The specific shade is called Serene Blue, and it looks really good. But at first, I thought this was going to be like Gen 3, whereas Charizard Shiny is technically a different color, but in certain lighting, it is actually black with a green or blue tint. However, the difference is very noticeable between the blue and the black that we get.
Wartortle!
Another simple change, it's just the front of the shell not changing from its base form, and the shiny we got was way better.
Blastoise!
We get more notes crossed off on the side, and it seems like they didn't quite know what color to make the main part of the body be. First it turned into a blue similar to the base form, then they tried this lighter blue, which looks good, then they switched to the purple we all know and love, but with one distinct difference. The eyes notably change green.
Doduo!
I wouldn't be surprised if the Beta Shiny inspired Doduo's gender difference in Gen 4, because the neck changes slightly from the base form. Other than that, it practically stays the same as the base form. The shiny we got was an insane glow up.
Grimer!
Grimer was originally more gray than neon green. Honestly, I like the beta a little bit more, but the green toxic waste makes sense for Grimer.
Lickitung!
I don't know if this is an original idea or not, but the shiny we got for Lickitung gives lemon candy mascot vibes. But the beta shiny Lickitung does not. I don't know if I can say what it gives, but I'll say one word. Dehydration.
Magikarp!
It stays relatively the same, but they try to figure out the mouth, whiskers, and fins.
Lapras!
Lapras barely changes from the base form, with the cream color turning pinkish. I wish this was a change that they added onto the shiny we got.
Moltres!
One of the best beta shinies. It doesn't turn into a raw chicken, and its beak and feet turn a nice reddish color. It's a really cool change that gives more spicy, fiery vibes, as opposed to bland and uncooked vibes.
Mewtwo!
This one's kind of interesting. Its beta shiny is yellow, but it isn't 100% like Gen 2's coloration. It is more yellow as opposed to Mewtwo's Gen 2 shiny, which is more of a greenish yellow. However, I wish the shiny was what we see on the first movie poster.
Pichu!
I'm gonna be honest, Pichu doesn't technically have a beta shiny, however, its shiny did change. On its file, it specifically says that shiny Pichu is meant to mimic normal Pikachu. And if you didn't know, Pikachu's coloring is different now than it was back in the beginning. So Pichu used to be the brighter yellow of Pikachu's old design, and it is now the more orangish yellow that we now know. This gives us some of the first confirmation that at least some of the shinies, even back in the day, were picked by GameFreak and not a basic palette swap.
Espeon!
It barely changes from the one we see, however the eyes turn red and the gem on Espeon's head turn orange.
Misdreavus!
It used to be brown, but it keeps the yellowish-orange tips. While the brown sort of keeps the spooky factor, it's nice to have a more ectoplasm green ghost shiny, like Slimer from the Ghostbusters.
Pineco!
I love the yellow of shiny Pineco, however the beta turning into a real Pinecone looks very cool. I like it a lot.
Elekid!
Strangely, beta Elekid shiny has the markings on its body turn gray. And the yellow gets darker, but we've seen that on Elekid before.
Beautifly!
It is just about the same shiny, we just see more of the purple with it being on the antenna and the body.
Lotad!
It looks more like a grape.
Azurill!
Azurill turns more cyan instead of the green we're used to. It looks pretty nice despite it being similar to the original form. Another thing to note, Azurill's file was put in the Johto folder. I don't know if that was due to the person who got the files or if it was done by GameFreak themselves.
Plusle!
So I don't know about you, but did you ever wonder why Shiny Minun changes so much and Plusle doesn't change nearly at all? Well, Plusle was going to. I showed this to a couple of people and it broke their hearts on what could have been. We could have had pink shiny Plusle and GameFreak ripped it away from us.
Registeel!
Registeel's an iconic shiny, at least to me anyway, and thank God it changed because I feel like in certain lighting conditions, this shiny would be harder to identify than 3D shiny Regices.
Latias!
Latias' shiny barely changes. Its most major change is the emblem on its chest because
Latios!
Latios' shiny doesn't change that differently from its base form.
Deoxys normal form!
While being one of the most boring beta shinies to look at, the notes associated paint an interesting story. According to those notes, the beta shiny form was supposed to appear in Destiny Deoxys. which not only lines up with the fact that there are 2 Deoxys in that movie, it also lines up with how shinies are often used in the anime.
Garchomp!
Okay, let's get the funny comments out of the way. Normal shiny Garchomp barely changes. I'm going to run an experiment. Here are 2 Garchomp, which one is the shiny? Trick question, neither is. The darker Garchomp is what it looks like in the anime, and the lighter one is the color palette for Ken Sugimori's artwork. When you have that context, the shiny changes pretty drastically, with the beta shiny looking more like the anime version, which from the colors we see in-game is an enormous change.
Magmortar!
Magmortar is the poster child of small changes making a big difference. The main change is the yellow actually turning into the pink that we see, and it turns a frankly ugly shiny into one of the best in the generation.
Dialga!
This was mostly added because I recently got a shiny Dialga in the Sinjoh Ruins. With that video coming up soon, I wanted to see what Dialga's original shiny was, and it changed for the better.
Palkia!
This is a late edition, but since we're going to do Dialga, I thought it'd be worth to see Palkia, and it appears to be the same shiny we see in Gen 4, which the new shiny gets a lot duller post 3DS.
Snivy! Tepig! Oshawott!
The 3 Unova starters have an interesting trait. They are all specifically labeled as outdated, despite the fact the changes are very small. Snivy might be the biggest change, with the main color being more blue instead of that greenish blue we get. Oshawott's nose turns into an orange hue of the original brown, and a different shade of blue for the body, and Tepig just becomes a little bit lighter.
Zoroark!
Last, and certainly not least, we have Zoroark, and I have a tough time deciding my favorite of the 2. On the one we get, the purple is iconic, and the black fur turning almost brown not only looks good, but it mimics black cats. Growing up, I had a black cat, and his fur, especially on its chest like Zoroark, turned almost that rusty brown color when he grew older. But Beta Shiny Zoroark has the dark purple replacing that brown, and the lighter purple accents making for an amazing shiny that I wish we'd see in the spin-off games. And that's it. Some of the highlights of the leaked beta shiny designs. Which one was your favorite? And which ones would you want to see in spin-off games or otherwise replace the shinies we got? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. More shiny videos are coming soon, and yes, the Switch Dex Challenge is coming out. Legends Arceus is a little hard to just blast your way through like I did with previous games, so it's coming. Slowly but surely it's coming, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, bye.